I would say like, just a kid growing up in Florida, a lot of kids know how to flip. You see a lot of kids doing back flips, front flips, all these different types of flips, and you just sort of pick up on it and you start trying it yourself. I've been flipping since I was like a little younger, trampoline, backyard, all type of, different things. So, I feel like, you just pick it up as you go, growing up down here.
Big guy kind of surprised me with your versatility there. Can you explain some of this offense to us and what attracted you in coming here, especially since last year was kind of an off year for tight ends here?
I would say this type of offense is, area offense. Like they like to throw the ball, pass the ball. Last year just seeing Caden Veldkamp sling the ball around, seeing what he can do with the rock in his hands and how he can make different reads and, making defenses look, pick apart defense basically. And just seeing how, how they try to get the ball to everyone, not just one player. One player may, shine the most, but everyone is still going to, get their parts. Just, talking to Coach Delaney throughout the recruiting process, and, just him speaking on what they really needed in that room. And I felt like I was a player that, could step in and make something happen in that position. And just, me knowing myself how I can carry the ball, how I can move around with the ball, without the ball, block, anything, whatever I need to do for the team, I feel like, I can be the guy that you can put there and just make it happen. And, there's people behind me that, that also push me to do things. We have guys like Brooke Johnson who we go out here and we work. Guys like Marcus Vincent, we go over the plays together, do a lot of things together. So it's more like an iron type of situation. I also have to thank God, for putting me in this position to, show what I can do with my talents, and for me just to have these talents, be able to catch the ball, run the ball, and run routes.
Last for me is it's a bold move to go from Florida to Villanova. It had to be an important decision for you, and equally as important of walking away from a potential three-peat to come back to Florida to play your final year. What went into that decision?
From going from Florida to Villanova?
Villanova back here.
Oh, Villanova back home. For me, it was just like my quarterback situation. My quarterback, Pat McQuaid, he was on his last year and was trying to get a year back and not really knowing what's going on. So it was just a bunch of young guys in the room, and I just didn't know what was there for me anymore, honestly. And then I spoke to my coaches just to see if I could go to like a higher level, just to see what's out there for me, and to I guess better my game and give me a better shot at going to the next level.
Good.
Additionally to that, you get to come back to South Florida. You're from Fort Lauderdale.
Yes.
So was the fact that it was very easy for your family to come see you play, was that a factor as well?
That most definitely played a major role. Just bringing my father up here on the visit, and him just falling in love with the campus, the coaches, the culture of the program. Not being too far, 30, 40 minutes away. That also played a role, just being able to go back home basically anytime I want to. To see my family, my little sister, my brothers, anybody. Being able to just be back where I've been my whole life.
When you made the decision to leave Villanova, was it in your mind that you wanted to come back to Florida, or were you open to anything?
See, I was never a guy, even from high school, I was never a guy that really closed any doors. Like I was open to go anywhere. Like you could put me in Alaska, it doesn't matter. If that's like a place where I can thrive, I'll go there. But just once after a while, I was like, okay. I started dumbing down the options. I started I was like, okay, maybe I do want to come back home. Maybe I do want to spend my last year around my people, around people like me. My whole life, basically my whole college career, I would say I was Northeast. So around a lot of Philly guys, Baltimore, Maryland, New York, Jersey, all that stuff. And it was more like a culture shock again, because me coming back home, it was like I missed this. Like I had been around a bunch of guys like me, a lot of Floridian Southern people in a little minute. So it was really like a culture shock just to come back home and experience that again.
So I don't know if you're familiar with the lineage of FAU football. 25 years. But we've had a couple guys at your position crack and go to the next level. Rob Hausler, Harrison Bryant. I'm not sure if John Rain made it.
No.
He
was there for a while.
Yeah. But, you have an opportunity, after listening to these coaches, a few of them, they want to throw the ball at your position. Your ultimate goal is to go pro, I'm assuming. So how are you embracing that? Now that you maybe know, or maybe you already knew that, some guys have come before you in this program, and with the pass offense, you've got a really good opportunity for that yourself.
I just been taking it in. Everybody, I would say, comes up to me and they, talk about, what they think I can do, like, what they see me do. But I mean, I feel like it's a lot more than that. Like I said, like I go back to God every night. I talk to him, I pray, I read my word, I make sure like I spend time with him, because without him I'm nothing. There's a bunch of things that I've been through in my life that without him, like, I wouldn't be here in the first place. So, I prayed about going to the next level, such as going from FCS to FBS. I prayed about being like a primary target. I prayed about getting my opportunity. These little things that, you pray about, sometimes you may forget about, but it's coming true. I have to just take it step by step, just come to him every night and thank him for the little things that we may overlook sometimes in our lives, that we pray about and may forget because we get a little big-headed. So, I try to stay humble with it. I try to really show that line between cockiness and arrogance. You want to be like, you want to know that you have it, but you don't want to overdo it, because it can be just like how the same way you got it, how fast you got it, can be taken away from just that, same speed.
He won't bless beyond character. That's what you just said. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I appreciate you sharing that, because I see some things lining up, and that's why I asked that question. It's been a long time. The curve goes up and down for the football program, just like it does in life. It's been a while since we've had somebody that's excelled at that position. The timing's right. You've asked for it. You're here. You're going to get the opportunity. So spiritually, I agree with you. It looks like it's all kind of lining up, and your heart's in the right place. So
yes, sir.
Commend you.
Thank you.
Right, I was going to say, do you see yourself as a 3-down tight end? But in Kitley's offense, it's really 4. It's 4 downs. But do you feel you give them the option to leave you on the field in any situation? Do you feel that's your skill set?
Yes, sir. I feel like, any passing situation, whether it's short game, long game, play action, anything, I feel like I can be on the field and execute from any position, whether that's the X, Y, H, Z, B back, in the backfield at A back. Especially in the run game, I feel like I'm physical enough to block any position. We have to already block D tackles, such as CJ Doggett. We have to block the Wilkies, we have to block those type of guys. We have to block the linebackers, safeties, cornerbacks. So, I feel like all these things that they put on our plate, it just prepares us to basically do anything. We have to be able to get open on any position, we have to be able to block any position. So it's like, whatever you throw at us, I feel like we're already battle tested for.